Hey guys, so today we'll be talking about open source licenses, their purpose, what's the difference between each of them, and how do you select a license for your own project. If you like our content and wish to see more from us, do like this video and subscribe to our channel. So let's get started. So first, what is an open source license? You must have seen these licenses on GitHub while browsing repositories. Like in Audacity, we see the GNU General Public License. In Flutter, we see the BDS 3 clause license. And in React, we see the MIT license. So in simple terms, a license is a contract between the author and the user of a software component that declares where the software can be used in commercial applications under specified conditions. The license is what turns your code into an open source component. Without an open source license, the software component is unusable by others, even if it has been publicly posted on GitHub. So some of you might ask, if open source is free, then why do we need a license for that? Not all open source repositories have the same permissions. So the open source license states what users are permitted to do with the software components and what they cannot do as per the terms and conditions. This might sound pretty simple and maybe even redundant, but there are over 50 plus open source initiative verified licenses, each providing different specifications. Now that we have a basic understanding of what licenses are, let's see the different types of licenses. So, open source licenses can be divided into two main categories: copyleft and permissive. Copyleft's license's basic principle is that other developers have the right to use, modify, and share the work as long as the work published also has the same license. So, software created using an open source component with a copyleft license must be released as open source as well. Coming to permissive, a permissive open source license guarantees the freedom to use, modify, and redistribute the code while also permitting proprietary derivative works. Permissive open source licenses are referred to as anything goes, as they place minimum restrictions on how others can use open source components. So, to sum it up, in case your project uses some code or software that has a copyleft type of license, then your project must also contain a copyleft license. Whereas if a project uses only permissive license, then you have the freedom to either make it proprietary or choose any kind of open source license. Now let's look at the most commonly used licenses, their conditions and limitations. The first one is GNU General Public License. This is one of the most popular copyleft licenses, and it is also the most restrictive open source license. It basically states the source code must be made public whenever a distribution of the software is made. Modifications to the software must be released under the same license. Changes made to the source code must be documented. And if patented material was used in the creation of the software, it grants the rights for the users to use the patent. Some other copyleft licenses are Eclipse Public License, Open Software License, and Microsoft Reciprocal License. The next commonly used license is the MIT license. This is one of the most popular permissive license. Its simplicity and minimal restrictions make it popular. It simply states the software can be used for commercial or private purposes. The software can be modified and distributed. The copyright license notice must be included in all copies or substantial uses of work. Some of the other permissive licenses are Apache license, BSD 3 clause license, BSD 2 clause license, and ISC license. Now, in order to select an appropriate license for your project, you need to make a list of all the dependencies that you're using to ensure that the license you select complies with that. Then select a license as per your needs and review its clauses. You can also use websites such as Choose a License that helps you select the best license as per your requirements. The Choose a License page shows you the most commonly used licenses and also tells you what's allowed and what's not in short. You can also see its appendix page for a summary of the most popular licenses and their features. So now, for example, if I want to add a license to my Flutter project, as we saw earlier, Flutter uses a BSD license that allows us to use it for commercial purposes as well. But suppose we want to make it open source. We can just go to the GitHub page, click on add a file, name it as license, select a template option, select a particular license, then review it, and finally commit it. As you can see, the license has now been added to the project. To be updated about various open source related stuff, you can check out opensource.org, which gives you latest updates about the open source community. So that's a basic overview of open source licensing. Hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. If you have any doubts or suggestions, let us know in the comments. Do like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos.